Okay, so here's another video, and it's about parallel and perpendicular lines. Alright, so parallel lines, the definition is a little funny. It says two lines in the same plane that never intersect. Let's take a look at what that really means. Okay, so when I think about parallel lines, I think about a freeway, and not the kind of freeway that curves around, but a straight freeway. And the idea about parallel lines is, if this was one of the lines here, so let me grab my pen, change my color. If this was one of the lines here, right here, and it was going this, it looks like these cars are going this way, right, and then here's the other line here. We want these lines to be parallel. So in the picture it's kind of 3D, so they don't really look parallel, but we want to make sure that these two lines don't cross, because if these lines ever crossed, then that means that these cars here would all of a sudden be pointing into this traffic here, and then that would be really bad. So the idea of parallel lines, I like to think of a freeway that they just don't ever cross. And what they look like is this. They look like this. So here we have two lines. We have line AB and line CD, and you can see that they never cross. So no matter how far out I extend this line, remember the arrow means that the line goes on indefinitely here. So no matter how far out I go, whether I'm way out over here or wherever I go, I think that's like the edge of the notation area there. No matter how far out I go that way or this way, these two lines they're never going to cross. So that's the idea of parallel lines. Now, what's this business about them being in the same plane? Well, basically the same plane just means that as long as they're on the same piece of paper, they're not going to cross. Because you could technically have two different planes with two lines that aren't really parallel, that they're never going to cross, but we really don't talk about that much. So the idea is that if they're on the same piece of paper, these two lines will never cross, and they're parallel. Okay, so we have a special marking for parallel lines, and here's some of the markings. So this right here, this symbol right here, it kind of looks like if you were to think of this as an arrow, like this whole thing right here, this thing right here, looks like the feathers of the arrow, if you will. Right here, these double markings, that marking on these lines indicates that these two are parallel. So that marking means that these lines are in fact parallel. So if you ever see these markings, you'll know, oh, those are parallel lines. Even if they don't look like it or whatever, you'll know that those two lines are parallel. The other marking here is this right here reads that line AB is parallel to line CD. And we know the line symbol, so we read this line AB. And then this symbol right here means is parallel to. So this little straight up and down sort of symbol means is parallel to, or the symbol itself just means parallel. So this symbol is the symbol for parallel. Because we don't want to write parallel every time, that's boring. Let's just make a little symbol. All right, the next one is perpendicular lines. Let's take a look at that. Okay, perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect at right angles. Very important that it be at right angles here. Okay. So intersect, this word intersect right here means to cross. This is just like an intersection, like, for example, there's one. All right, just like an intersection. This is actually an intersection in some town somewhere. And this intersection here is where the two lines, the two streets meet here. Now this intersection happens to be perpendicular. Okay, so just like that. So that means that these two lines are perpendicular. So in other words, one's going up and down basically, and one's going left and right, and so that makes them perpendicular. Okay, the better picture is over here. So these two lines are perpendicular, and if we say that EF is perpendicular to GH, okay, and this symbol right here, the upside down T, looks like that. That means perpendicular. Okay, so just like we had the two lines for parallel, that means perpendicular. And remember, you can pause the video anytime you need to if I'm going too fast and you want to write this down, or you know, want to go back to something. You can go ahead and pause and move back. And just wanted to remind you can do that if I'm going too fast. But the symbol means perpendicular. So the idea of perpendicular lines, if I told you that these lines, EF is perpendicular to GH, then that means that they meet at 90-degree angles. So if two lines are perpendicular, that means that they meet at a 90-degree angle. So that means that this angle, EIH, is a right angle. So we can say that the measure of angle EIH is 90 degrees. I think I'm at the edge of my thing there. Okay, 90 degrees. There it goes. Okay, so if this one's 90 though, and these are supplementary, that actually means that this one's 92, and that one's also 90, and this one's also 90. So all these angles here are 90 degrees. So we can say that the measure of the measure, let me get my eraser. It was too big a snafu to leave alone. Okay, so the measure of angle GIE equals 90 degrees. The measurement of this angle equals 90 degrees. GIF, and the measure of angle, this angle here is 90 degrees. So 90 degrees all around is what that means. Okay. Pretty simple concepts. Parallel and perpendicular. Okay, that's it. Make sure that you have all this written down and get ready for your quiz.